أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today we are starting with the reflections on the first ayah of Surah ad-Duha. The very first ayah of Surah ad-Duha will make you stop and wonder. At least that's what it did to me when I had started trying to understand why this surah is recommended to those who are going through depression. When I read this first ayah, I just stopped and I was like, what's going on here? I mean, consider this. We are talking about depression, and interestingly enough, the first ayah of Surah ad-Duha talks about the morning. Wad-Duha, by the morning brightness. And the reason it is interesting is because depression is somewhat like a dark phase in a person's life. So logically speaking, it should have been talking about the darkness or something first. But instead of that, it's talking about the morning first. And this begs the question, why? Why, by the way, is my favorite question, so don't mind if you keep hearing me asking why over and over in this series. So, why is Allah Azza wa Jal mentioning the morning first? Let's think about it. How do we think about our happy days? When we are really happy, it's like the days have brightened, right? Even the stars are brighter than before. When the days are brighter, we have people around us joyful, interested, as well as encouraging. Our brightest days are when things are happening, moving, and flowing, and we find optimism coloring our lives, our thoughts, as well as perspectives. We are busy following our dreams and enjoying life. The lesson here is very simple. Even though the surah was revealed during a depressing time, what it is teaching us is the importance of a correct mindset. What is a correct mindset? And it is teaching us that through three things. That's what I have understood so far. The first thing is tawakkul. So the first ayah is teaching us how to develop a correct mindset, the importance of a correct mindset. And it is teaching us the importance of a correct mindset through three things. The first thing is tawakkul. What is tawakkul? First, let me tell you. Remember what we recite in Iman Mujmal? It goes like Amantu billahi kama huwa bi asma'ihi wa sifatihi, meaning I solemnly believe in Allah with His all names and personal attributes. And here I'm hoping that you are paying attention to this part, because it's something that is very important, very, very important in the life of a Muslim. But unfortunately, it is also something that has been sidelined to such an extent that it is something that is close to non-existent. The asmaulhusna are important because they provide us with lenses that we are supposed to keep putting on in order for us to actually see the reality of things. The reason that we are so in tune with the delusion, وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ, we have become completely in tune with the delusion of this dunya, and by default become out of touch with the reality that all the prophets kept reminding their people of. Why do I refer to asmaulhusna as lenses? Let me give you an example. Why do we use microscopes and telescopes? To see what is not visible to the naked eye? Yes. So when we are immersed in the delusion, we need special lenses to help us see through this delusion. The more lenses you have, the clearer will be the view around you. So if we want to really understand what's going on around us, we desperately need those lenses. We desperately need asmaulhusna, because they keep us grounded. They help us develop and maintain a healthy mindset. If you want to change your life, you have to change your mindset. And that is exactly what this first ayah of this surah is teaching us. Let's take an example of asmaulhusna. Let's take the example of Al-Hakim. Allah is Al-Hakim, that is, Allah is the All-Wise. So remember, it's part of our Iman to believe in the names of Allah Azza wa Jal. What does it mean to believe that Allah is the All-Wise? We believe He is the All-Wise. It means that we believe that whatever He has decreed for us is out of wisdom. Allah Azza wa Jal tells us in the Qur'an that perhaps you like a thing and it is bad for you, and perhaps you dislike a thing and it is good for you, and Allah knows while you know not. So, coming back to what I said before, that when we say Allah is the all-wise, we believe, we trust that whatever He has decreed for us is out of wisdom. And that alone should assure us that there is a greater wisdom behind what we are facing. Maybe we cannot see we cannot see that wisdom right now, but it is there. And anyone who has tried to observe life as objectively as possible will tell you that when you are going through something challenging, it is difficult to understand why it is happening. But once you surmount that challenge and you look back, things start to make sense. Because now you have all the pieces of that puzzle. That challenge that you were facing, that puzzle is finally complete. And you can see why this was happening, why that was happening, why that. So the wisdom is clear. But when we are going through that challenge, it's difficult to understand. But that's where tawakkul comes from. Tawakkul comes from when we understand the asmaulhusna. Asmaulhusna are given to us so that we know Allah through those beautiful names. So, yet rarely do we ever see hardships in that light. Why is that? Because nobody taught us to put on the lenses of asmaulhusna. Without those lenses, our vision is distorted, unclear. No wonder then hardships seem scary to us. That is why having trust in asmaulhusna is of utmost importance. It teaches us to trust Allah through His names. You trust someone who is trustworthy, and who can be more trustworthy than your own Rabb? If we find it difficult to trust Him, when we face a challenging situation and we are finding hard to trust Allah, it means the problem lies within us. This is exactly why challenges or difficult situations are important, because they open the doors of cleansing oneself, of purifying one's faith. They teach you to trust in Allah instead of people or fame or wealth or whatever it may be for you, whatever that you trust besides Allah. Which means hardships open the doors to developing closeness to Allah Azza wa Jal, a means to get closer to Him. Hardship is a means to get closer to Allah Azza wa Jal if your mindset is correct, if you have put on the correct lenses. This is how tazkiyah happens. The process of tazkiyah starts with challenges. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We cannot be that best version of ourselves if we are not close to Allah Azza wa Jal, right? It's common sense. How can we be the best version of ourselves if we are not close to Allah Azza wa Jal, if we don't understand Him, if we don't understand His wisdom? The challenges are there to help you become better versions of yourselves. The challenges are there to get you closer to Allah. If you see challenging situations in that way, you will not look at hardship the same way that you used to before. Why are Muslims today so afraid of doing the right thing? We often see Muslims doing something un-Islamic, and why do they do it? They do it out of fear of the opinion of people. It's something common that you will hear in Muslim society. What will people say? What will people say is a common question that you get to hear whenever you try to tell a Muslim, don't do this. This is un-Islamic. You should be doing this instead. And they will say, no, I want to do what Islam says, but I am afraid what people will say. So what makes them so afraid of opinions or criticism? It is because nobody taught them to put on those lenses. And because of that, they think avoiding challenges is far better than facing them. Especially when the challenges one faces, in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. So they prefer the easy way out. Although there is nothing easy about doing something that creates or strengthens an un-Islamic idea in the society, in this dunya, and then facing the consequences of that in the hereafter. There is nothing easy about that. But we do it out of fear. And why is there fear? Because there is some weakness in our trust. We don't trust Allah Azza wa Jal the way we should. And we don't trust Him because we are not connected to the asmaulhusna. Imagine what an incredible opportunity hardships provide us with. It is not to diminish the pain one goes through. I'm not saying that. Pain is there, we cry, we get hurt. So the pain is real. But when we look at that pain, that hardship through asmaulhusna, we are cushioned by it. We are cushioned. It cushions us against that onslaught of trauma. And it is so beautiful when you just think about it. It's so beautiful that Surah ad-Duha starts with the mentioning the morning first. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. You just see the wisdom in it and you're like, wow, this book is amazing. This book is amazing. It's no wonder that this surah that we are told to recite during depressing times, when we are going through hardships, when we are going through depression, the first thing it teaches us is that we need to have a correct mindset, because everybody goes through pain. Who is in this world who hasn't seen pain? Everybody has, but Allah Azza wa Jal says, inna ma'al usri yusra. With hardship is ease. So if we don't face the hardship, we are not going to become better people. When we are better people, that's when ease will come. It's one way of seeing it. I'm not giving you an interpretation of it. I'm just saying that it is one way of seeing it. That hardships make you better people. You know how P.B. Shelley said, if winter is here, can spring be far behind? It is something like that. That if hardship is here, it means the doors have opened up for you. It is a means to get closer to Allah. So the first thing, how to correct one's mindset, the first thing is through tawakkul. And the best way to have that tawakkul is through asmaulhusna. The other two things that it teaches us about how to develop correct mindset, we are going to, inshallah, go through that in the next episode. This is getting a little longer than I thought, so I hope it has become clear what I am trying to say, that the listeners have understood what I am trying to say, that the first ayah of Surah ad-Duha is teaching you the importance of having a correct mindset, and that correct mindset can be achieved through three things, and one of those things is tawakkul. The very first thing is tawakkul, and tawakkul is it can be achieved through asmaulhusna. Asmaulhusna are very important. We need to contemplate the names of Allah Azza wa Jal. So that's for today. I hope it was useful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.